Yo, BBA!
Yo, BBA! It's time to talk about my favorite character, BBA, who is very much the superior character.
I think French might have something to say about that, but I'll let you just make your case.
Yeah. So the case is that she has this incredible journey from grief to becoming a badass hero. And then also that she is unique on, like a unique character on TV that you can't see anywhere
That's
else.
a bold statement.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what you have to say there.
Yeah, but let's walk it back a little. Let's start with first things first.
Okay.
With her journey, and let's start with the grief that she lost her twin brother.
You lost
And the story gets complicated because he was an addict. She made him go to rehab, and then he died there, maybe suicide. And so she's not only dealing with grief and this person who's so close to her, but also the guilt that she thinks he died because of her.
Because she sent him to rehab, and that's where he passed, presumably.
Yeah. It's a heartbreaking story, like the way they parcel out the details with the where she's in the car listening to the messages. Oh man, that just punches me in the feels so bad.
Yeah.
So he's dealing with that grief, and there's an interesting parallel between her brother and Steve that guides this journey. Her brother was had this problem with society. If we think back to BBA's first encounter with the OA. The OA talks about how being well-adjusted in a sick society isn't a great thing.
Well, it's not really a measure of mental health to be well-adjusted in a society that's very sick.
Well, that's a very clever bumper sticker,
And
Mrs. Winchell.
that kind of described her brother probably being an addict. We tend to think of addiction as just a chemical interaction, ingesting chemicals, something in our brain, but hopefully I don't completely mess this up. But there's scientific research that rats who were given access to cocaine, if they had other rat friends to play with and were in this cool place, they were less likely to take the drugs, no, I'm cool. Whereas rats who were stuck alone, they, just in a cage, they would be more likely to be addicted.
Right, so isolation being kind of this just as important as to the actual drug itself to becoming an addict. And I guess, the idea being too that you shouldn't push people away like BBA did with her twin.
Yeah, and I mean, it's accepted by society. We think this is the way we should treat people, that they should be taken away and then reintegrated. And it's not the best solution, perhaps. And she sees that with Steve. In a similar situation, he can't conform to society's norms, and his parents want to send him away. It's not rehab, it's a military camp.
Right.
And she says, no way. She drives after. She sees him being abducted. It was just this terrible thing to do to a kid. She drives after him like a freaking badass. She even calls up the principal, be like, "Hey, you made a mistake."
Smooth, but I guess she's badass.
It's not James Bond, but it's a different kind of badass. She even messes up. She's before? Oh no, I'm eating a sandwich. I gotta go.
For what, Eddie?
I gotta go. I'm eating a sandwich.
And so she makes that plan that doesn't work. But the way she gets him back is that she's been driving around with this check. That is the last piece of her brother. The OA calls it a totem. She can't give it up, but she does give it away to save Steve, to get him back. So there's this arc there that she was dealing with this grief. The OA helps her process it, finally call the lawyer back about the estate. And she is able to save someone by using the last piece of someone that she lost.
Got it. That's interesting. I kind of want to actually move on, and I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on this. So what's up with the containers? BBA and containers. She the whiteboard. She has a whiteboard. She draws on the whiteboard with the character there, and then she also mentions the container store too at one point.
Yeah, she says she loves the container store.
Right.
It's a small little detail. I don't know how much we can read to it, but I feel like,
I really like that store.
it's the OA. It's not just idle banter. Probably they love dropping clues in there.
Yeah.
There's not much to go on, so it's more speculative. I would think that maybe putting things in containers helps her deal with things or process things. There was, with the drawing on the whiteboard, someone else drew it, this picture of her. But by putting it in a box, maybe she's able to reclaim her agency, make it her own thing.
Right, and I guess there's always that aspect of captivity and glass, and not, who knows if that's really an actual theme that they're trying to call back on, but it is a visual metaphor, I suppose.
Yeah, this whiteboard container and the
Right.
glass cages.
Right. Okay. So, tell me more about why you think she's so unique in TV.
Yes.
This is the one I'm really looking forward to here.
So she's unique in TV because she is a badass who is also female, single, and middle-aged.
Single.
You don't see anywhere else. Let's establish her badass bona fides. First, she saves Steve.
Right.
From there, and then when the shooting's going on, she runs towards danger instead of running away.
Right.
I think that defines a hero.
All right, badass stamp. All right,
Yeah.
I'll give that to her.
She risks herself to save others.
Yep.
Other badasses on TV. Let's go with Game of Thrones because it's got a lot of badass female characters.
Okay.
You look at Sansa Stark, Arya Stark, who's assassin, Marjorie Tyrell, Daenerys the Conqueror. They're all like young and beautiful.
Right.
On the other side, you have the Queen of Thorns, who's not middle-aged, she's elderly.
Elderly
she's
grandma.
Grandmother of Marjorie Tyrell. But she has that scene where she goes toe-to-toe with Tywin Lannister. Of course she's a badass.
Right.
I think that's more acceptable kind of ranges for badasses. And then the closest analog we have to BBA is Cersei, who is approaching middle-aged.
But still obviously very beautiful.
Yeah. But I think the main difference between her and BBA is that she's a mother. She's defined by this motherhood.
Love no one but your children. On that front, a mother has no choice.
I see, and yeah, BBA doesn't have any children at all. I mean, in fact, even her relationship with the other boys is not so much. It's like it's not really motherly. She's kind of more their friend, right?
Yeah.
Like they call her BBA. It's not something you don't have nicknames for your mom. It's just mom, right? So that's kind of an interesting point. And even in the context of relationships with these young boys, it's not quite the same way you would normally see it being represented.
Yeah, I think there is a maternal instinct there, but not the same as Cersei, who's does anything for her children,
Right.
defined by that. It's like the main driver for a lot of her actions, and kind of helps us empathize with her a bit, that she's not just this villain.
Right. She's a three-dimensional character.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, well, I'll give you that. BBA is a pretty cool character.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with my man French, though.
Wrong. Wildfire for you.